Welcome to all the Pisces rising signs of our zodiac. It's Cosmic Girl 101 talking about your astrology for March in this video. Trust you're doing well. So before we get into it, we need to know where your ruling planet is transiting, indicating what your focus is for the month of March. So Jupiter, being your ruling planet, it continues its transit in Gemini. And this is a part of your chart which is private, the fourth house, and it's the house that's connected to home, family, and parents. So, with your ruling planet in Jupiter for the month of March, keep that in your back pocket, in as much as understanding through the lens of astrology that Jupiter rules you and your body, your image, your sense of self, and you put it in a private part of your chart. Well, then you're going through some pretty private events in the home and with family dynamics and parents, or even yourself as a parent if applicable. So for the Pisces rising signs, that is your focus, if you will, for the month of March, and will be a focus until June, before your ruling planet Jupiter ingresses into Cancer in your fifth house. So about 3 more months, and then the focus for you will shift into the fifth house, which I'll be uncovering for you in future videos. Okay, so keeping that as a footnote where you're really invested, as a side note, for the month of March, we're going to be talking about all the planets in transit. There's a lot going on in the month of March with the celestial bodies. I'm going to be unpacking all of that and what it means for you for your rising sun as a Pisces. So let's get into it. Well, from the 1st to the 27th of March, Venus is retrograding in Aries, and then the 27th of March moving into April should be retrograding back into Pisces, your first house. So Venus, in short, will be retrograde all month. So when Venus is retrograde, representing what we love, what we want to harmonize with, what we find enjoyment and pleasure in, it's going into recon mode. And that's not to say that there's not pleasure to be had or harmony among relationships. It's just that what we are attracted to is going through a transformation. So from the 1st to the 27th of March, what you could be experiencing with Venus retrograding in Aries in your second house of money is a reevaluation of your financial standing and how that's impacted by other people's resources, anything to do with debt, and also siblings and your immediate environment. So all of those topics and subjects are up for grabs, if you will, in deciphering if other people's resources, siblings, or what surrounds you on the day to day, does it help your assets, your skill set? Are you getting any benefit, or are you feeling that there needs to be a changing of the guard? So some pretty tough conversations will be had, I'm assuming, for the Pisces rising from the 1st to the 27th of March. On the 3rd, Mercury ingresses into Aries, joining retrograde Venus, your second house. So again, this is doubling down on the second house of your financial standing and how it's being impacted by contracts, relationships, and even family dynamics, or potentially the home. So there's a lot going on in your second house as a Pisces rising, indicating that the planets are focused on here for a reason. So the reason that there's so much attention driven towards your second house is because something is trying to start here. Something's trying to be secured here in Aries that supports you, and that's through skill sets, assets, possessions, and your money. And all the other ingredients, if you will, that are factoring into supporting you financially is coming from other people's resources, your family members, relationships, marriage, and contracts and agreements. So big changes going on for you, Pisces rising, when it comes to your financial standing. So Mercury will be in Aries from the 3rd to the 15th of March, and then it will go into a retrograde. So from the 3rd to the 15th of March, expect a lot of financial influence coming from housing, family, parenting, relationships and agreements, all needing attention. And then Mercury will go into a retrograde on the 15th of March, and it'll be retrograde for the rest of the month. So for the first, nearly 2 weeks, Mercury, meaning family members, relationships, and contractual aspects of your life are really demanding your attention, and that can have a big money component and how these people or things support you, if at all. On the 7th, Mars trines the Sun. So Mars trining the Sun indicates that there can be potential travel plans becoming easier to begin, or you may want to begin a educational program, or you may also want to start looking at the logistics and financial legalities necessary regarding assets and possessions that you have. So you might be doing things like putting a car on the market, or you may be ready to um, start a legal proceeding that you've been procrastinating on in regards to a financial aspect of your life. So that could be like a divorce. This could be a legal proceeding with internationals or foreigners as well, is a potential on the 7th. When Mars trines the Sun, it's going to be easy for you to initiate, start something beneficial for yourself regarding education, travel plans, or a legal proceeding. Moving on to the 11th, Mercury conjuncts retrograde Venus, and this is your second house. And we also have on the 11th of March, the Sun conjunct not your ruling planet, the Sun is conjuncting Saturn in Pisces, your first house. Okay, so the 11th of March is quite a big day when we're talking about the planets' alignments. All right, so let's talk about Mercury conjunct retrograde Venus first. This is a lot of intel coming from other people. So I would expect a lot of noise, and the noise is coming from outside of you. So I would expect a lot of information, conversations, just a lot of energy on this day knocking on your door on the 11th of March. In short, that's all I see it as. Just expect a lot of information and moving parts to be around your experience on the 11th. And the same day, the Sun conjuncts Saturn. So this starts a new synodic cycle for Saturn and the Sun. And this indicates a new cycle starting in your first house. So this is you. This is your physical body, your sense of self, and what you want to start. So I would say that on the 11th also, you might be starting a new work project. You could welcome in new co-workers. You could also connect to a new service, start a new health routine, a new practice, something to do with a new fresh start on the daily is happening on the 11th of March. And maybe that's why with Mercury conjunct retrograde Venus on the same day, there's so much excitement and activity going on around you, because you're starting something brand new, and it's quite long term, because that Sun conjunct Saturn indicates longevity. So you're definitely invested in something that's going to take time to develop and flourish, but benefits you in an extremely healthy way. Okay, moving on to the 13th. Uranus sextiles the Sun. So this can be an out of the blue change regarding a sibling, travel plan, or an educational pursuit. So something's almost feels, the 13th almost feels like a curveball that you didn't see coming. So this could be like a car breaking down, a computer going haywire, a sibling rings you up and they're having a meltdown and you'll need it on the 13th. So expect something really, oh my goodness, I didn't really need that to happen on the 13th of March. Moving on to the 14th, we have our first eclipse of the month, and that is a total lunar eclipse in Virgo. So this lunar eclipse is happening for you in your 7th house. So this is quite a big deal because the seventh house is an angular part of your natal chart. So we'll need to take some time here for you, Pisces, to talk about what this means for you. So the ruler of Virgo at the time of this eclipse is Mercury, which was situated in Aries, your second house. And with the total lunar eclipse in Virgo in his seventh house, this indicates that there can be some really big success stories coming from relationships that you have connections to. This could be a marriage partner, a partnership, or a friendship, or a business partner having their moment in the spotlight, if you will, and it has a financial component to it. So this could be a big contract that a relationship lands, or a partner says, "Can you believe it? I've just got this big deal and I'm being scouted, and all of a sudden I'm being offered this amazing opportunity." So expect really good news coming from other people about successful endeavors that have a monetary component to it. And this also, because a lunar eclipse is very different from a full moon, because it is a full moon, but it's a lunar eclipse. This also factors in such things as environments and mothers. So there could be changes of environments for significant relationships around you, or you take on a contract that takes you in a different environment, for example. But it's more other people, the seventh house. So, for example, a mother says, "I'm not living here anymore. I'm going into a new place." Or you witness a relationship that's close to you say, "I've got this fantastic opportunity, but it means that I have to relocate and change up my location," for example. That's a real possibility on the 14th with a total lunar eclipse in Virgo. And Virgo is a zodiac sign that is about service and education and teaching. So this could also factor in education and teaching reasons why significant people around you are having some big successes, or why you might be on the move because of education or teaching reasons as well. Okay, moving on to the 15th, only the next day, Mercury that ruled that eclipse. On the 15th, Mercury now goes into a retrograde for the rest of March. And Mercury retrograding in his second house indicates some retweaking, fine tuning, streamlining strategies regarding your finances. So expect you to, as a Pisces rising, to be hyper vigilant of what's coming in and out of your daily checking account. What assets and possessions do I have? What do I need to cull? What do I need to hold on to? So I think you'd be really good at sifting through the wheat and the chaff and what works and what doesn't when it comes to things that support you, especially when it comes to skill sets or courses, for example, or jobs. You'll be good at identifying where you need to focus and what you need to leave behind if you've been overcompensating from the 15th of March moving forward. Okay, moving on to the 19th, the Sun conjuncts Neptune. And this can see you feeling quite a little confused about well laid plans regarding what you start with a service, work, or health regime. So you could be feeling a little bit, am I in or am I out on the 19th? You could be making a pretty big decision on the 19th about going forward with those 6 house topics of work, health, services, co workers, and your fitness. And because the Sun conjuncts Neptune, it's as if there's a day on the 19th where you really have to show up for yourself. So it might be hard to keep engaged and you may want to shut down the world. The advice is not to, because the sun shining on Neptune in your first house that rules the sixth house indicates that It's healthy for you to do the hard yards and do the hard things that you would otherwise sweep under the rug. So the 19th can be like, I don't want to do it, but you have to do it. So, yeah, interesting day on the 19th. Moving on to the 20th, we see the spring equinox begin in the northern hemisphere and the autumn equinox begin in the southern hemisphere. So a change of season, which is always nice, whether we experience it in our environments or we know psychologically there's a changing of the guard. Enjoy your equinox season, Pisces rising. The same day, the sun ingresses into Aries, its zodiac sign of exaltation. In short, this is where the sun really wants to be all the time. And this is your second house of finance. So the sun will be in Aries, exalted for 4 weeks. And when the sun ingresses into Aries at 0 degrees, we astrologers consider this a new year. So for all you astrology enthusiasts out there, Happy New Year. It is the beginning of the new astrological year. Time to start putting action into practice instead of thinking. It's time to start doing. Okay, and I think that's helped along by the equinox as well. Okay, so let's talk about the sun for you, exalted in Aries in your second house. Wow, this is going to be big. So the sun rules your sixth house of work, health, services, sickness, illness, labor, pets, the daily grind. You're getting on top of your physical body. And when it's in your second house of assets, possessions, finance, things that support you, your skill sets, there is plenty of opportunity to utilize the things around you on the daily that improve your sense of stability. The sun in Aries is asking, if you will, Pisces rising, to be more optimistic about financial opportunities and doing the hard yards to get to your sense of subjective abundance. There is work around you. There are services around you to help you accomplish your dreams, especially when it comes to courses and building on your skill set. Fine tuning your art is a great way to utilize and work with the sun in Aries. Get stronger muscles in what you are educated in and time to get it out to the world. Time to begin is what I'm getting for the Pisces rising signs in March. Moving on to the 21st, we have retrograde Venus sextiling Pluto in Aquarius. You may be getting news from a partner, be it intimate or otherwise, or a sibling, getting some sort of resuscitation from the past that helps them move along with their own financial plan. So expect good news on the 21st. On the 23rd, the Sun conjuncts retrograde Venus, and this highlights whatever's been resuscitated or brought to light, information you're hearing from others on the 21st. On the 23rd, this is when a service or the resuscitation, the life force coming back from something from the past actually comes to pass, and they could have a real opportunity to change up their financial position on the 23rd. On the 24th, the Sun conjuncts retrograde Mercury. And again, this indicates that you are going to be benefiting from a partner, a relationship, or a contract, or even a family dynamic in regards to benefiting financially or something to do with an asset or possession that is quite lucrative for you on the 24th, coming from other people or family members. So enjoy that on the 24th of March. And then on the 27th, retrograde Venus ingresses back into Pisces, your first house. And on the same day, on the 27th, when Venus does retrograde back into Pisces, she's conjuncting Neptune. So this is a big deal for you, Pisces rising, when you have Venus retrograding back into your first house of your identity, your body, your sense of self, and what you want to begin. So that in separate to Venus conjuncting Neptune on the 27th, Venus is in her exaltation in Pisces, your first house. So what that means in short is that Venus prefers being in this zodiac sign. She just feels that she can do Venusian things quite organically, but she's retrograde. So when Venus retrogrades in your first house, this can be, again, heralding reevaluations about other people's agendas regarding their resources, their financial standing, even siblings and your environment, going through a reconstruction mode that's affecting you head on. So this could be siblings, education, your environment, or other people's resources being more heavily focused because it's in your first house of you. So you could be shouldering, if you will, people that are near and dear to you in regards to listening to their plans for their future, what they want, what they need. And that could be a lot of heavy lifting for other people around you. So, healthy boundaries, not that you want to shy away from helping people, but it just seems like a lot of activity going on with other people that's really impacting you. So, easy does it on the 27th when retrograde Venus ingresses back into your first house, and then she'll be retrograding here moving into April. So yeah, it could be weighing on you a lot of burdens that people are putting on you about their own stuff, if you will. Okay, on the 27th, yes, when Venus does retrograde back into Pisces, it conjuncts Neptune's, and this also doubles down on other people telling you that they're confused about their path forward regarding their resources or where they want to go, what they want to do. So it just doubles down on hearing some pretty confusing information coming from other people that could be bamboozling you. So you could get quite confused about what people are telling you, or be confused about, you know, deciphering if they're telling you the truth or not about what's really going on with them. So that could be quite tricky. On the 29th, retrograde Mercury ingresses back into Pisces, joining retrograde Venus in your first house. So this indicates that relationships, contracts, agreements, and family issues are certainly going to be on your mind. So there's a lot of demand. You're an integral part in assisting people. So family members, family unit, relationships, contracts, and agreements are all focused. You're part of it. So expect some busyness when retrograde Mercury ingresses back into Pisces, your first house, moving forward and into the month of April retrograde. The same day, whilst that, if that's not enough for you, Pisces rising, my goodness, there's a lot, I know. We have our second eclipse of March, and this is a partial solar eclipse. And this is in Aries, your second house of finance, things that support you. And we know that Mercury and Venus are in your first house. Mercury and Venus are retrograding in your first house. But this solar eclipse is happening in your second house of finances, things that support you, your assets, your possessions, your skill sets, your money, your everyday money. So what I think is going on here is a brand new beginning, brand spanking new regarding home, family, contracts, relationships, and it's impacting your second house of finance and things that support you. Now, a solar eclipse is nothing to sneeze at. This is a really big deal, Pisces rising, because a solar eclipse heralds solar themes. Solar themes are about fathers. Solar themes are about leadership and ego. Solar themes are about the ideal and identity. So it could be family members, relationships, for example, that are going through an identity crisis that makes them want to change their life. And for that reason, because it's happening in your second house, it's going to be impacting you because the second house supports you. So whatever changes are going on for people around you or with family and contracts, for example, it's having a knock-on effect to you. So it's of a financial nature, that is for sure. And it starts a brand new cycle. So there's a brand new changing of the guard, if you will, Pisces rising on the 29th of March. And it's factoring in family, relationships, contracts, and agreements of a financial aspect. Big deal on the 29th. Okay, moving on to the 30th, we have retrograde Mercury conjunct Neptune. So this can be recovering information that was lost in translation, coming from family members, relationships, or contracts. So this is a good day for recovering things that you thought were gone or opportunities that were gone. Something comes back. Mercury is the planet that is connected to being a messenger, so you can get some really strong messages here on the 30th that can be quite confusing, or at least something is exposed that gives you an aha moment coming from family relationships or contracts on the 30th. The same day, Saturn sextiles Uranus. And we know that Saturn is in Pisces in your first house. So this is a very firm decision regarding a change of heart to do with siblings, education, or short distance travel. So you might be ready to uh, deliver a truth bomb to a sibling, a travel destination, or an educational pursuit where you go, it's easy for me to let something go. I'm not really interested in committing on the 30th to something long term, is what I'm getting there. And the last thing that happens on the 30th of March, if that wasn't enough, we have Neptune now ingressing into Aries, your second house. So this is definitely what we need to talk about. Neptune has not been in Aries for over 165 years. And if you're an astrology enthusiast, then you would know this packs a punch. So let's talk about Neptune in Aries for you. So Neptune's been in Pisces, your first house, since 2011. And now when it gets into Aries from the 30th of March into the 5th of July, it'll be direct in your second house. From the 5th of July, it'll go into a retrograde in Aries, and then it will retrograde back into your house. So in short, Neptune hasn't finished, if you will, all of the confusion, the illusion, the delusion, the fantasy, the idolization, the creativity, the imagination it takes to make you you. So there is a fluctuation going on here. So let's talk about Neptune in Aries. It's going to be a very different Neptune because Aries is a fire cardinal yang zodiac sign. So it's all about the action. Let's go. Let's grow something. Let's change something. Let's make this fertile ground grow. That's Aries. It's a spring zodiac sign. So Neptune ingressing into Aries is about, let's get creative about growing something fertile for the long term. Let's use our imaginations on how we can flourish with our assets, possessions, and our skill sets, things that support me. What can I do? What can I creatively do to bring in more harmony for myself on the day to day? Neptune in Aries is going to be all about the action. And what I find interesting about this Pisces rising, just of this transit in of itself, is that this zodiac sign Aries is ruled by Mars, and it's all about being a leader, a pioneer, being brave, being bold. It's about cutting and separating. It's about uh, taking action on its instincts. So, with Mars ruling that Aries in your second house of finance, assets, possessions, and your skill set, Neptune here is going to have you, as a Pisces rising, feeling inspired to be a leader, feeling inspired to be a pioneer in being really strategic and savvy when it comes to accumulating wealth, assets, and possessions for yourself. So I like Neptune in Aries more than I like Neptune in Pisces. That's just my own biased astrological opinion, because Aries is go get 'em, start something, build something, whereas Pisces is about the dissolution of very, very long cycles. So if you think Neptune's been in your first house of your body, what you want to begin, your sense of self, Neptune's made it really quite difficult at times to feel like you've got any traction. But when Neptune gets into Aries, the ball's going. but it's only here from the 30th of March to the 5th of July direct. So in short, how do you practically work with this? Consider it to be like a soft opening. It's an official start, but it's not official. So you're dipping your toes in and out of where you can get creative juices flowing regarding executing a plan regarding your finances, your skill set, assets and possessions, things that support you. So marketing, pitching yourself, selling your product, getting yourself out there, being a pioneer, not being shy, stepping up to the plate. This is what I've got. This is who I am. Do you want to take me on? Or where can I actually flourish? And what avenues do I need to follow to get to my dream destination? Because Neptune will help you get there. It'll be the way shower of the people that are creative and out there, So that's quite helpful for you as a Pisces rising. So that is something we can all look forward to, Neptune going into Aries on the 30th of March. And that's how I see it playing out for you, Pisces rising. There you go. The astrology of March. A lot, huh? A lot to chew over and digest. It's a busy one. Astrological and practical advice. There's a lot of information coming around you, to you, and through you. Healthy boundaries, self-care. Show up when you can, but know when to switch off. We don't want to drain our bodies. Your ruling planet Jupiter is in Gemini in the part of your charts to do with privacy, home, family, and parents. And so you're trying to keep the momentum up. And that's where you're needed, obviously, because that's the wisdom of the planets and transits. You're obviously needed now in this family dynamic. And there can be a lot of information and social gatherings and connections going on around you. And I think it would be important for self-care, learning how to say no. It's great to be helping other people, but always remembering you matter too. Okay. So that means speaking up for yourself. What feels organic and what doesn't will be really important. That means trusting your instincts in the month of March when it comes to really big decisions. Okay, Pisces rising. Till next time, stay cosmic.